accusation was bogus. But Daniel Cicero came to the man's house, to his house. He wasn't walking in the neighborhood. He came to the man's house. And he wasn't alone. He had a group of people with him, of young men with him. And he said, nigga, come out here. We gonna kill you and we gonna rape your mama. So the young man told his father, John White, he said, Dad, as he woke him up, he said, Dad, there's a group of guys outside. They trying to kill me. So he got up. He got the pistol. He went outside and he tried to scare him away with the pistol. So I guess he got him backing away from their yard. And at one point, the guy, Daniel Cicero, jumps at him. And John White says that, you know, the gun accidentally went off. Now, it wouldn't have been no accidentally messing around with me, because I would have came outside. I probably wouldn't even came outside. I probably would have just opened up the window and shot all of them, you know, right there. Because, you know, that's a threat. I mean, you don't come on somebody's property threatening, and then you talking about raping his raping in terms of the man's son, you raping his mama. It ain't got nothing to do. I mean, even when you talk about him, I mean, first of all, you threaten to kill him, and there's no proof that he actually committed what you accused him of in the first place. But the fact that you talking about what you're gonna do to somebody else in the family, somebody else that's in the house, you know, that's a threat, and you're gonna get dealt with. I mean, just how it is. I wouldn't play with folks like that, and I don't understand a lot of these people that's out here upset over Trayvon. I mean, you know, me personally, I know people not gonna like this, but I ain't upset at no George Zimmerman, because I'm not upset at the jury or the judge or anybody else, because I know what America is about. Some of y'all want to be hard-headed and pretend it ain't like that. I know what these people are about, and I don't expect anything different from them. I'm mad at Trayvon's father because he should be the one on trial, because Zimmerman should be dead. And quite frankly, and you could talk about, you know, people gonna say, well, you can't say that about that man because, you know, he's hurting. That's wrong. Damn that. The man didn't handle his business. Black people got to understand, you can cry racism all you want to. If you refuse to protect your children, you cannot elevate as a people. And you deserve to be on the bottom of society. I don't have any children, but I have little brothers. I have little cousins. My oldest little cousin is 2 years younger than me. I'm the oldest of all of them, of all my siblings and first cousins. If anything happened to any one of them, all hell gonna break loose. You understand? Ain't gonna be no crime. We ain't going to no justice system, because I done tried to deal with the justice system, and the so-called justice system don't want to provide justice. So I'm not expecting it, because I'm not a damn fool. You have to change who you got sitting up in these seats. It's that simple. So the man John White ended up going to court, and despite the situation obvious as hell, he got convicted to 5 to 15 year sentence, I think, was for manslaughter. Now, some of you know David Paterson, who was governor, first black governor of the state of Massachusetts, and he ended up getting the guy out. He ended up pardoning the guy. Now, the guy never should have been, after like 6 months. He did about 6 months, and he got pardoned. So I guess you could say, praise the Lord, you know, or whatever. But after that, unlike Trayvon Martin, his father, when Trayvon didn't do nothing, unlike his father sitting there crying, Daniel Cicero's father, he mad as hell. He talking about somebody gonna kill your son, you know. That's what he was saying. You understand? That's what he was saying. See, certain people deal with things in a different way. Now, some of you are sick. I understand black people's history. You know, you don't really feel like you deserve, you know, to have the same power that that everybody else has. You know, everybody else has a certain type of pride. Indians, white people, Arabs, Asians, they have a certain pride, you know, in themselves, and they always take care of each other first. But some people, for some reason, black people got this thing where they want to make everybody else happy. I don't understand it, because I don't have that thing. I don't understand it at all. But For some reason, black people just just feel like you don't have a right to pride for some reason. I give you an example. Like in this particular situation, first thing you hear a lot of black people say, even my cousin actually said, "What about all the black people that kill other blacks? What about the blacks that's killed by other blacks? Why y'all mad at Zimmerman? You just mad at him just cause he white." Well, first of all, that's not the reason why people are mad. People were mad because Trayvon was 17 years old, and that's just how people are. And anytime a child, not that you don't, value all life regardless of how old or young somebody is. It's just something about young people. We naturally, look at it and say, that person had their whole life ahead of them, and then subconsciously we know that we are supposed to be able to protect our young. I mean, that's just a natural thing. So people get sensitive. They extra sensitive when something happens to a child. And that's what you see most of these signs and these protests are about. A child's life, a man murdering a child. People get sensitive about that type of thing. It just takes it to a whole nother level. People just get outraged, and so it wasn't about that. But for people who are so sick to try to say, well, what about the blacks who get killed by other blacks? I mean, that's some sick shit, and I'm gonna say it just like that. Steve Cohen ain't gonna tell it like that. That is some sick shit, man. I saw another girl on Facebook one day. She said, "Remember how happy we were when OJ got off?" What the hell? And then she said, "Don't pull the race card." Excuse me, why the hell would you mention OJ if you saying don't pull the race card? I wonder why OJ came to mind when you said that. What the hell OJ got to do with this here? And you the same person saying don't pull the race card. But yet, white people see things a little differently. When Saddam Hussein says, "You know what? I ain't trading my oil in dollars no more. I'm dealing with the euro." White people got a different way of dealing with things. They say, "He gonna do what?" Oh, hold up. We finna bomb the hell out of Iraq. How we gonna justify aid? We're going to say he's doing this to his own people. We're going to say he got weapons of mass destruction that everybody on the damn planet know he ain't got. They're going to do whatever to justify going over there and handling their business. See, some people have an agenda. Black people don't have no agenda. Some people have an agenda. An Arab will set up a convenience store in your neighborhood. And if you got a 12, 13-year-old daughter to go in there by herself, he will molest your daughter in the store. Then Friday morning go to the mosque talking about some praise Allah. Certain people have an agenda. Certain people understand, yeah, you can talk God and quote scriptures all you want, but at the end of the day, they not going to refuse like black people do. They're not going to refuse to lose their religion in order to get ahead. They use religion to get ahead, to justify getting ahead. Black people use religion to justify bowing down. To justify, well, the first thing that happened is, well, God gonna get them. God didn't get the last nigga that did that shit. What you talking about? You a grown man. You got to handle your business. You got to take care of your babies. You understand? That's how things work. You got to handle your business. When you get hungry, you don't wait on God. You go in the kitchen yourself and fix yourself some need. You cook for yourself. You handle your business. But when you get intimidated and feel like, someone is superior to you and you can't do things yourself, those are the things that you start talking about some waiting on God to do. Quoting scriptures ain't gonna get it, brothers and sisters. I believe in God too. But a man got to handle his own business. That's just how it is. That's why you got a black president from Chicago that ain't gonna deal with that mess that the police is doing. What do you think about Sean Bell, Mr. Obama? Well, we are a nation of law. We got to accept whatever the law said. Whatever the verdict came down, we got to accept it. You got a vice president from Delaware Black people getting lynched in Delaware. He ain't gonna say nothing about that. They gonna put y'all back in chains. And you sat there and let him, that redneck, you sat there and let that man say that, and you voted for him again. Do you understand? Now, I gotta address this. You know, often we like to go through the motions. And see, that's a very dangerous thing. That's something that I cannot stand. I hate that. I can deal with evil, but I can't deal with straddling the fence. I would that you were hot or cold, but because you are lukewarm, I spew you from my mouth. I respect that. I cannot stand straddling the fence. Whichever way you want to choose, I hate when people are not real, man. And they go to reverting to the cliches. Don't get mad. I saw a young lady play ball for Louisville. Don't get mad. Educate yourself. Change the world. Change the world like who? Like JFK? When he decided that since the Constitution said that Congress should print its own money, he decided, well, the Federal Reserve is doing it now. That shouldn't happen. The Constitution said we should print our own money. Well, why don't I sign this executive order? And what happened to JFK a few months after he did that? Secret Service just backed right off the car and gave them a clear shot to blow the man's head off. And then they tell you that Lee Harvey Oswald did it by himself. How in the world, when you look at the angle from the first shot, and then several yards further down the street, he gets hit more so in the front of the head? How the hell did the same man fire that shot? So you see, the reason why I'm saying that, similar to Malcolm X, you know, he's supposed to, they tell you he started loving white people at the end, you know, and he got killed by the Nation of Islam, which he didn't get killed by the Nation of Islam. The guy who went in there and shot him, who the FBI sent in there to shot him, told you he acted alone. And the two guys that they supposed to be from the Nation of Islam, that was a setup. They were framed, and similar to Martin Luther King. When Martin Luther King was talking about the little black boys gonna sit down with the white boys, and that they let that man say that in front of the doggone Lincoln Memorial, in front of thousands of people, and then millions more on TV. When he was talking that nonviolence, they didn't have no problem with him saying black people need to handle their justice with nonviolence. But when he messed around and said that the United States government is the most violent entity on the planet Earth, when he was talking about the Vietnam War, then the man got his head blown off. But see, that's something that they don't tell you about with Dr. Martin Luther King. They don't tell you about when he started getting militant. See, that's the point that I'm making. You try to so-called change the world, you're not changing this system. You don't move the type of weight that they move. You don't have the type of money that they have. You don't have the type of access to public relations that they have. You don't have the military might. Now, after they assassinated JFK and Lyndon B. Johnson took over, he immediately overturned that executive order. And they went right back, you know, letting the Fed do their thing as usual. The problem with the world is not the people that you have in power. The problem with the world is the fact that people do not want to think for themselves.